An instant success, the TRD Pro Tundra might just be Toyota's best off-roader ever. In fact, it was even more of a hit than anyone at the company ever imagined.
But with fewer than 10,000 TRD Pro units produced in total between the Tundra, 4Runner, and Tacoma, finding one might be difficult. Thanks to the experts at Toyota Racing Development, however, you can build your own.
They will sell you every part necessary to build your own TRD Pro. And while the do-it-yourselfer can handle the bulk of the installs, Toyota recommends you take it to one of their dealers. Or like us, you can find a qualified shop. I'm here in San Bernardino, California for a project truck build that we're calling TRD Like A Pro.
In this segment of the TRD Like A Pro build series, we're installing what is arguably the most exciting part of this new truck, the TRD Pro Coilovers. These include new eye-box springs and 2.5-inch Bilstein remote reservoir shocks. All of the parts can be purchased through your local Toyota dealer, and Toyota recommends that you have a trained Toyota technician install them. The first thing to do is to get the truck in the air and remove the lug nuts and wheels, making sure you mark the location of each tire. Then remove the 4 14mm nuts on top of the coilover. Make sure to leave one bolt on to hold the coilover in place so that it is hanging when you pull down the lower control arm to release the coilover. Remove the two 22mm bolts on the bottom of the lower control arm. From there, you need to remove the cotter pin on the outer tie rod using pliers. Then you need to remove the 24mm nut on the outer tie rod, making sure to leave it on just a little bit. This will prevent any threads from getting damaged when the pressure is released. And now you should have easy access to the front coilover. To remove the coilover, hold the end of the bolt with a 22mm wrench and unscrew the 22mm nut on the other end. Remove this giant bolt with a rubber mallet so as not to damage it. Loosen the 24mm cam bolts that connect the lower control arm to the frame. This will give you some play and you'll be able to swing the control arm down for even better access. You may have to use a pry bar to get the shock loose from the bottom. Now you're ready to install the new TRD Pro coilovers. Mount the new coilover up and screw on the 4 bolts finger tight to hold it in place. Next, you're going to want to remove the 19mm sway bar bolt on the other side for a more freer motion. You can make sure the coilover is in the correct position by checking that the labeling is facing forward and that the remote reservoir is facing the outside of the truck. Line the shock and the lower control arm up and insert the giant bolt by using a rubber mallet so you don't damage the head. Make sure not to tighten the lower strut bolt until the truck is back on the ground. Now you can swing the brake and hub assembly back into place. Use a scissor jack to compress the shock and a pry bar to pull the upper control arm down. Bring both together and put the 22mm bolts on the lower control arm back in, tightening each one just a little bit at a time. At this point, it's a wise idea to mark which bolts you have tightened. Next, reattach the tie rod with the 24mm bolt. You may need to use a clamp to bring the two ends together so that the bolt can grab the thread on the other side. Now you need to reinstall the cotter pin. When installing the first coilover, do not reinstall the sway bar bolt because you will want it loose for when you install the new TRD Pro coilover on the other side. Once you have completed the removal and install on the other side, reattach the sway bar bolts, then bring the truck down and tighten the bolts on top of the coilover. Now that the truck is back on the ground, you can tighten the remaining bolts and torque the wheels.
If you'd like to watch the other videos in this build series, you can click here, here, or here. Or if you're interested in watching these parts in action in our TRD Like A Pro challenge, you can click here.